Time magazine front page cover 2 weeks ago was aliens exist. CNN or Fox News or any of the shows in the last few months, they've had entire headlines. We're not alone in the universe. Millions and millions and millions, if not billion plus people, are now aware that there's UFOs, there's a reverse engineering happening, that there's ET bodies that have been captured.
When do you think disclosure is going to be?
So I think like towards the end.
New Earth Eden podcast here. I'm Eden and I'm here with Neil. How the heck are you today, honey?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So, I'm going to talk about what we're potentially going to talk about. I do want to read your bio and then we're going to go right into it. Okay, we're going to talk about the new Earth, of course. I love some of from other shows that I've seen you on. Predetermined free will. Would love to discuss that. Your perception of open contact, Earth as a gift, your explanation of the matrix, dimensions, and more. And we just talked off air about food camps. So we may go into some of that because y'all know I'm all about food these days and nutrition and not eating and all that. All right. Neil Gore is founder of Portal to Ascension, a conscious event production company created in 2008 that hosts a wide range of presenters on a variety of topics, such as the origins of humanity, the existence of extraterrestrial life, exposing hidden truths, and exploring the nature of reality. He travels the world, which we know because he's dropped his computer several times in airports, travels the world facilitating gatherings that are intended to empower the individual to reclaim their sovereignty and awaken to their full potential. He hosts, creates, and facilitates about 70 conferences, workshops, and retreats a year. At this point, Portal to Ascension has worked over 3,000. Wait a minute. Oh, what's worked with over 3,000 researchers, spiritualists, scientists, conscious explorers, and more. Neil is a philosopher, historian, researcher, and spoken word artist, which we might get to, well, not might, we will get to see some of that later in the show. He presents his research on the ancient wisdom and the future of science, of sound, of vibration and frequency, as well as in depth explorations into ancient civilizations, archaeological discoveries, space anomalies, shedding light on hidden esoteric wisdom, and exploring ways in which we can create unity and peace on Earth. I love that. First question to you, Neil. What do you think the new Earth is going to be like?
Hmm. So, okay, there's so many different layers that we can get into here when it
Let's do
comes to
it.
what that will look like. And I'll start out by saying that everything is paradoxical. So as we share this right now, it's not about this world sucks in this moment and we need to create this other world. It's really, in my opinion, about finding the beauty in this present moment here. And the more of us collectively find that beauty here, the future has no choice but to reflect the beauty that we find in this moment. And that way, that's how we create it. It's honestly, if we're always looking for this elusive carrot in front of us, and the universe is just going to give us another carrot that's a little further in front of us, and we're always going to be chasing that, right? With that being said,
Mm.
as the disclaimer, let's get into what are the potential realities of this new paradigm. I would say let's break it down with the justice system, religion, and energy. We'll start with those, okay? So first of all, the justice system, the way that we treat criminality, the way that we throw people behind bars for all types of offenses, rather than looking at the root cause of why people do what they do and what causes what happens, and getting to the root cause of how society and the systems have been created to cultivate those type of experiences that feel that they need to create live a criminal lifestyle, which also breaks down into the basic things that people are missing in life, which then leads them down these types of pathways: loving, nurturing, community, feeling loved, feeling nurtured, feeling having community, creating a system, an organization, a governmental system even that cultivates and holds high in high regard, ensuring that people have love, connection, and community in their life, and that being institutionalized in the whole world. Therefore, people not feeling so disconnected that they need to resort to different types of things like drugs, criminal nature, depression, anxiety. All those things can be, can actually be um, navigated and healed, right? So that's you can go you we can go down a rabbit hole in that. Now with religion, as a lot of us probably tuning in right now know that organized religion is kind of taking us further away from an inherent truth that connects us because organized religion, just in the way that it's been put together, has created division and actually separates us from the other. Because most organized religions normally say that this is the only way and my way is the only way to God. And by doing that, thereby everybody that is not within your faith is now the other. So shifting that belief system to realizing that we're all interconnected, which is why my first root for everything I did with Portal to Ascension, my first thought that created what I did now was the root of all religion. I wanted to see how everything was connected. In my opinion, organized religion is a lot of truth mixed with a lot of man-made BS, right? So if you
Yes.
look at what the truths are, almost every religion says the same thing. Treat thy neighbor, like yourself, like you'd want to be treated. The kingdom of heaven is within. That you can hear throughout, which is actually a quantum physics equation. The kingdom of heaven was in is subatomic world is where the source of all creation is, right? So having a greater understanding of who, what we are, unveiling the ignorance of not knowing why we're on the planet and trying to act like we already know what we're doing here and we already figured it out, but being open to the fact that we're all just winging it on some level and getting to a point where we now have information and wisdom on our connection to the cosmos, our extraterrestrial nature, and how we were seeded on this planet and what really happened, which there also includes our ancient civilizations that have been on this planet. We've gone through this phase where we've had this arrogance about us being the most advanced that we've ever been, and that we think time has gone linearly. But new evidence is now showing that time isn't as linear as we thought it was, and chances are there were more advanced civilizations that existed before us. Some of them we have remnants of, but some of them hundreds of thousands of years ago completely wiped from the face of the planet. So, what kind of wisdom can we get from our ancestry? Whether there's going to be governments, media, or documentaries that release this information, or whether we're going to have open contact with extraterrestrials that know about our history and we're also involved in our history that are thereby going to give us this information and wake us up to this truth, who knows? Which takes me into the extraterrestrial question in UFOs. We're going to realize that not only are we not alone in the universe, but we never were, and that these beings have been visiting us even before humans even first started on this planet. And the reason why they're visiting us is because our ancestry and our connections to them through genetics, that they consider us their family. And so getting to a point where not only do we have full awareness that we're not alone in the universe, but we eventually have open contact. So when it gets to what this world could look like, transparency, integrity, connection, compassion, kindness, awareness, and where we literally see that we're one human family on this planet together. But we don't just see that, we actually have the information and the knowledge of how that even happened in the first place and how that connects to our souls. So we have the potential to live where we don't have to have such income inequality on the planet, that it doesn't have to be those that go without so that others can go with, that we start realizing that not only is the universe an abundant place, but we have not only with the technology we have, but with our own consciousness, we have so much abundance on this planet, and we start utilizing it in a way where it's not monetized so that everybody can benefit from the fact that we can have unlimited food, shelter, transportation, not polluting the planet. You asked a loaded question, to be honest. I could go freaking forever for this, but there's a lot of things that could change.
And I agree with you. Like it's not a dangling carrot. Like I'm parts. Okay, let me see if I word this right. Like I'm there now. Like parts of me are there now. And every time I increase
Mhm.
my vibration, I start feeling more, I love that word, integrity, more love and compassion. I mean, it's just right there.
Yeah,
We just gotta move more into it.
exactly. And I think the whole concept of your thoughts create your reality, as
Yeah.
metaphysical as it sounds, and how some people might not even like really 100% believe that, let's just get grounded with it. So the computer in front of me, what was it before it was a computer? It was somebody's thought. What was this table in front of me? This table was somebody's thought. If somebody's creating an art piece, even though it might have been inspired from heart and emotion, it was analyzed through your brain and then you created it from a thought. Therefore, if the more and more of us collectively have these thoughts that are whatever you want to call it, fifth dimensional, higher vibrational, the external reality has no choice but to reflect those thoughts. Which is why, as one person at a time, is shifting the story, is shifting how we speak to each other, is shifting how we speak to others. It's choosing love and compassion, even if the world and the systems are trying to shut you down, right? And when more and more of us start doing that, I believe that we're in some sort of simulated hologram. The more and more of us do that, as the coders of this reality, as the coders of the simulation that forgot we're the coders. We forgot we're the scriptwriters. We forgot we're the directors and the lighting crew. We forgot it. And now that we're realizing, oh my God, we are the coders of this reality, and we do it intentionally with a different awareness, the simulated like expression of the code, which is everything we see, has no choice but to reflect what we're recoding it with.
Can you go back into your own history for just a second when you started to wake up? Okay, I have two notes that you were a financial analyst and you woke up in 2001, but I also heard something you talked about in college, the belief of a prison planet. Can you give us that nugget about you?
Yeah, so when I was in 2001, when I started waking up to this information, I
Yeah.
found out information about Anunnaki and the sons of God. And the sons of God were the second tier of the gods from the planet Nibiru. A lot of people who haven't done just know about the Anunnaki and haven't looked into the Sumerian scriptures are unaware that the Sumerian scriptures talks about two distinct ET races, the Anunnaki and the Ajiji. Both of them were from Nibiru. The Anunnaki were the overseers. There is Zeus and the pantheon of Zeus. The Igigi were the demigods. They still had powers and were still advanced beings, but they weren't as all omnipotent as the gods in our pantheons. So that's like Hercules, for example, right? And these gods on Earth are actually manifestations of that original ET story. So when I was looking at the story, I realized that these sons of gods were called the fallen angels in the Old Testament. And the fallen angels, the reason why they're called the fallen angels is because when there was some sort of rebellion from the humans on the planet, the Anunnaki left and they abandoned their counterparts, the Igigi, on the planet. And the Igigi became the fallen angels, the sons of God, that then started creating control mechanisms around the world that eventually became secret societies because they were technically
I have to
more
ask you a
advanced.
question. I know I'm totally interrupting you, but I need to know this as you're describing it. Were you just sitting there reading these things and it just came clear to you? Is that how it happened, or did someone talk to you about it? How did it click?
Yeah, well, Jordan Maxwell was watching videos from Jordan Maxwell, who's a pioneer in a lot of this stuff, was really
Okay.
helpful. It was, but then also like I was reading the Old Testament at the time. I was reading the Sumerian scriptures to get more information on it, and then so I was being told one thing, then I was double checking it,
Wow.
and then I realized like they were called the sons of God because the Anunnaki were the gods, and they were the sons of God, just like Hercules, just like Yeshua, and all these other people, and then we take it into Old Testament because the Old Testament is almost a verbatim story of the Sumerian scriptures. But what does it say about the sons of God in the Old Testament? The same thing that says in the Sumerian scriptures. They mated with the daughters of men. Oh, so these sons of gods, which are the fallen angels, mated with the daughters of men, thereby creating a hybrid race that then became we had Zeus, we had Hercules, then we had the Titans, the giants. This is the freaking story, the original story. And the giants, the Titans, then continued mating with the daughters of men until they started looking similar to us over thousands of years, but they maintained their bloodline control and the remembrance of their whole lineage all the way down. So they created pantheons of gods around the world. They created um, sovereign um, sovereignty, kings, queens, empires, all around the world as this bloodline. Which is why, for example, when you do a research of every president in the U.S., every single one of them are related to one president from like the 12th hundreds in England. Why are they all connected to the bloodline? Because that's how they keep it in the family, right? And that's why we saw inbreeding with royal families thousands of years later, because they thought that their bloodline was connected to some hybrid ET race on the planet, and they were trying to maintain that they kept all the blood inside the family. So this gets into the conspiracies because as I was doing this, I was following this, and I realized that these beings that were left on the planet, they were they were trying to they created all the secret societies that that basically then created like Skull and Bones, Illuminati, and all this stuff. Whether they are still the same people or whether these people believe that they're descendants of them, but they're really not, doesn't really matter. But the fact is that they had this whole system of completely trying to control us and enslave us in a different way. They've enslaved us many times over the years, but this time they're trying to enslave us in a way where we think we're not slaves, but we still are, right? So that was the whole Prison Planet story. And so then I get into, of course, Alex Jones. His whole website was Prison Planet. And it was more about that this planet was some sort of matrix that we were used to be harvested for the benefit of the elite. Whether it was back then or whether it's right now, where they are basically, basically taking away every right possible, but making us still think that we're free. Whether they're creating all types of divisions economically around the world or creating wars that they are actually the funders of both sides of the wars
Yeah.
in order to create division so that we consider somebody the other, so that we're so fearful of the other that we are willing to give up our powers to this group of people so that they protect us about a fear they created in the first place, right? That was the story back then.
So, okay, two questions with that. When you started awakening to that, were you pretty much very, very much by yourself? And then the switch, when did the switch come from, oh my God, we're in a planet, we're slaves to, oh my gosh, this is a gift. This is wonderful. Okay, can you answer those two things?
Yeah. So, no, I wasn't alone. Okay, in the
Yeah.
beginning I was, but it wasn't really like I didn't really feel alone because I was hanging out with my friends in college. I was, we were having a good time. We're still going out. And because I was like, 18, 19, 20, 21. And
Gosh.
so not everybody was really like into it as I was. And I was also like recreationally doing mushrooms with my friends. I was getting downloads from the mushrooms and stuff, and I was just having a good time of life. But then I did start getting deeper into like some sort of depressive state when I started thinking there was a depopulation agenda, which was like, you know, which was some of the conspiracies I was figuring out. But at that point, I had two good friends that were also deep in this with me.
Ooh.
So even though like there was some like really upsetting information, our curiosity was running wild because we were learning about quantum physics, ancient history, and it was just so intriguing at the same moment. But I did feel on some level we're completely screwed, and then I would say the height of my conspiracy self was when the swine flu came out, H1N1, and which was like 2007 or 2008 or something. And you know how a lot of people freaked out because of COVID.
Yeah.
I was that back in that time because I had already been following the fact that they wanted to depopulate us through a vaccine. Back in 2007, there was podcasts talking about it. Through not vaccine, through a virus. And then all of a sudden, 2 months after I heard all this information, H1N1 comes out. And the only way H1N1 could have happened is if like a bird flew from China to Mexico, made the bird impregnated the pig in Mexico, right? Which can't happen. And then that pig automatically teleported to New York in order to bring the disease there and
Well,
then
of
spread it through some
course.
other animal. Right? It was
Right.
just so freaking off the wall, like of how it could have even come about. So I got a gas mask. My sister was in San Diego going to UCSD. So, and it was really happening in Mexico and New York. So I was trying to get my parents to bring her back to like Orange County. So that was like, how deep I went into it. And so, which was only like a year before the shift. So in 2006, I created a Facebook group, 2012 Consciousness, Mind Evolution, and Presence. And this was like just a group to start learning more about this stuff, allow a forum online for more conversations to happen. And thousands of people started joining. So then in 2008, when I lost my job because the stock market crashed, I'd already had this group with thousands of people in it, and I had a download to change the name to Portal to Ascension. And this was not only when I lost my job, but this is also when I started doing spoken word the same month. All these things happened simultaneously in the same month, including meeting what became my soul family for the next 10 plus years, all in that time that I started realizing that things aren't happening to us, things are happening for us. And I started realizing that the darkness is what I used to call it back then is working for the light. Now I've changed that a bit too. The darkness and the light are working together is my new mantra. But I would say the darkness is working for the light, meaning that in this world of amnesia, in this world of duality, the only way to know what you really want is to experience the polar opposite. And this world where there's all these traumas, all these darkness things happening, all these atrocities happening, gives you the ability to be one of two things. You can either be a master or you can be a victim. And so as I was realizing that, I also was also listening to some channeled information talking about groups of higher dimensional beings that literally incarnated into what we would consider evil families to play the role of evil. And the whole thing of like we're all on a stage, we're actors on a stage is quite literal that some of these beings are literally just coming here to play the role of certain dark energies in order to give us the catalyst to wake up because we have amnesia. And if we didn't have these catalysts, we would continue the status quo, ignorant to our true nature, never waking up to our truer potential. So as I started realizing that, oh my God, these secret societies, these elite, these dark forces are actually giving us such a challenge that we are now striving to see what the lessons are within those challenges. It's giving us the ability to have an ascended planet. The evolution of consciousness would not be possible on this planet without the darkness. That's the game we set up for ourselves. So that was my awareness in 2008, which moved, even though everything I was learning was already spiritually connected. I wasn't truly like spiritual because like it was so analytical, so informational, so quantum physical, you know? And then I started realizing, wow, what a beautiful dance. The Shiva Shakti, the light and the dark dancing on this planet together. And that was the shift to, creating what I do now and also moving out of the fear that I was in.
What an amazing story. Okay, so very scared with the bird having sex with the pig, like going into fear and then suddenly just opening and turning and being like, no, this is great. I loved hearing how you described Earth as a gift, and you did talk about it there, yet can you okay, I'm all over the place. Can you go into it talking about other beings wanting to come here to experience the emotions that we get to experience, even though we ascend? Can you go into that a little bit?
So Earth is what we call a full range planet, meaning that within let's just think of this in regards to third dimension. In the third dimension, we're actually in the fourth dimension. We have three dimensions, and we have the fourth dimension, which is time space. Now, within this dimension, you need certain rules and regulations to live. Every single dimension has their own rules and regulations. Maybe they're more looser in other ones, higher ones. But for example, in this one, in order to have life, you need certain types of percentages of minerals, nitrogen, carbon, water, so on and so forth. You need to be at a certain distance from the sun in order to be able to sustain life, right? And so within this dimension, there aren't as many planets that are populated as they might be in higher dimensions, where you are now the controller of your elements. You don't need a specific type of thing. You don't need specific type of heat from your sun. You might enjoy the heat from it, but you are now you're not the co-creator, you're the creator. We're co-creating here. They're creating the reality to the point that they can change the code of the simulation to live within the reality, but not allow the elements to affect how they survive and live. So on Earth, um, so on those dimensions where there's more beings in higher dimensions and realms, they only are able to experience emotional states that are at a certain level of frequency they are at, and all the things above it. Earth, we have created not only a planet and live within a free will dimensional universe, but we also have the ability to experience full range of emotions. And that full range of emotions allow us to receive the gifts from the darkness to understand how we can be on the polar opposite of our emotional state and use our emotional state to ascend to higher states of consciousness, right? So, Earth, so a lot of beings are like, whoa, what a great opportunity this is to have that experience and see the universe, the source, the original spark of source was what if can I like I have a poem where I say this line, what if can I be this? Like that's like a quote from source. Like what else can I be? Can I be this? Can I be the polar opposite? You know? And as the universe wanted to experience itself infinitely, all things are valid within that. But the original spark of source is to create in its own image from the beginning all the way down. Every single being that wants to become sentient wants to create in their image. So on Earth, we have now created after we've experienced all types of experiences throughout the universe in different dimensions, different timelines, different planets, different laws of physics, different extraterrestrial incarnations, right? Planetary bodies. Some of us have been planetary bodies, plasma energy. We've been so much, but novelty is the name of the game. We've done everything. What have we not done? Well, we haven't created a vehicle of a human body or a body that is able to live within one dimension but has access to all dimensions through the body, right? And we've never thought about wiping our memories clean, putting ourselves on the planet and trying to see if we figure out how we can be multidimensional while living within that dimension and still exist within physicality without ascending into pure light to live within those dimensional states. So, Earth was the gift. Earth was like, okay, you've reached all these levels, you've seen the boss at the end of every single game, you've beat the bosses, and the boss is your own shadow. And now it's like, okay, go down to Earth, wipe your memories clean, and see if you can still remember your light. And that's why it's so freaking beautiful. Like, isn't it crazy how the world is, everything is stacked against us, to be honest, and it's meant to be like that. Institutions, food, pharmaceutical companies, government organizations, wars, atrocities, crimes against humanity. Everything is designed to shut you down. And but the whole thing is, can you still choose compassion? Can you still choose love? Can you still open your heart? Can you still heal yourself even when the external reality is trying to close it down? That's the game. That's the game of contrast. Now, fortunately for us, we're moving out of that game and we're not going to have to struggle against it for too much longer because people are now got the tools to realize another paradox: how to live in oneness while we walk in duality, how to be in the 0 point while we exist within the two-ness, you know? And so that's part of the game here. After we've gone through all of this, we now learn the lesson on like, oh, can I still be at peace within myself even if the external world is chaotic? But what happens when all of us learn how to be peace within ourselves when the external world is chaotic? The external world becomes peaceful too, right?
I have to say, you've probably described that, not saying my other guests aren't great, they're all great. Yet you describe that so beautifully. I don't think, I know that is going to register with so many people who are listening today. And I love how you said, like, everything seems like it's stacked against you, because at times it does. Like, I have clients right now that are just at a point of desperation. So it's like, how can you use that desperation to fuel you into more and knowing
Yeah,
that you can be more? I mean, it is a challenging time, yet it is easy. Again, that paradox, easy all at the same time, but yet hard because everything seems so tangible and so real.
exactly. Yeah. And as I shared before, you have the ability, every moment there's a choice, victim or the master. And
Yeah.
then part of this system is designed to make you feel so comfortable so that you accept being a victim, so you just take the pill to cover up the symptoms so you can just continue surviving and living. And
Oh my
life
gosh.
isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, you know? It's about really making some positive shifts for yourself. And that's what we do with, what you're doing with the podcast, what we do with our work is really rocking people's belief systems so that we can realize that there's a better way to live on the planet that works for all of us, not just the few.
So why do you think you're here at this time to do Portal to Ascension? What is your mission and your passion?
My mission is to provide a nonstop stream of awareness from every single avenue, almost every single topic that exists. There's tens of thousands of topics covered on my platform right now in order to reach people at the level that they're at so that they could
Yeah.
find the same truth that we're all, that is connects us all. There's many truths, but there's only one cosmic truth, universal truth. And so all these things, whether it's ancient history, whether it's ETs, whether it's metaphysics, whether it's breathwork, all are leading us to get to the same place. What are we looking for? We're looking for peace, connection, love, community, and a deeper understanding of who and what we are, right? So because I'm super curious and I want to learn about everything, I've now kind of put my curiosity into what I've created here, which is why so many people are attracted to it, because we cover so much information that not only does it appeal to the curious mind, but there's almost always something for somebody that is there into this world. And a lot of people that I meet are very came in through spirituality, came in through being heart centered and their emotional state. I came in through science. I came in through understanding quantum physics. I started realizing that quantum physics proves that everything is interconnected, everything's made out of the same energy. Well, wait a second, is this what the ancient mystics were trying to tell us? Did they know something about the quantum world? Oh, yes, they did. Oh, how scientifically interesting is that? Let me go deeper into it. And then boom, what did I find? Heart coherence, connection, love, sound healing, meditation. That was the next part for me.
Oh, so nice. Hey, take a moment to talk about predetermined free will.
So again, I've been at the paradox, right? It's like
Yeah.
people say the whole debate over is this all predetermined or do we have free will? And is free will is if it is all predetermined, is every moment predetermined, or are certain meetings predetermined, but you have the free will how to get there, right? Which I think is probably more of the case. But when it comes to the concept of predetermined free will, it's the fact that all parallel realities exist, all possibilities exist. If this is some sort of simulated reality, which I think there's enough evidence to show that it is, basically, we are coded in an organic, conscious, beautiful way somehow coded into this reality, meaning every step that we take is actually a rendering of the code. So imagine you're playing a video game. Imagine you're moving one person from one place to another person in the video game. Think about what is going on within that computer. Well, the computer code is there, and when they go there, the portion of the code that represents that area gets rendered. Now, imagine you're in a video game and you're going to go through a door. Right now, in the video game, all you see is that person in that room. There is nothing outside of it that has been rendered yet. When you walk through that door, the code renders using the computer processor on your hard drive in order to render that space so that you can see it. That is quite um, literally what is happening. Now, I lost my train of thought, so ask me the question again.
So predetermined free will and
Okay, yeah.
how
Okay, yeah.
okay, got it.
So now, since if that's the case, that means movement is also an illusion as well as real. So what's happening is every time you step into one direction, you're jumping into a place within the dimensional code, the where you exist in that place already. So we're just like a guy is moving on a computer screen, but technically he's not really moving. He's
Mhm.
just being rendered in every part. He's jumping from code to code. We're continuously jumping from code to code. And because of that, all infinite code exists always. You can go left, you can go right, you can go up, you can go down. All possibilities always exist. Well, technically that's predetermined because all possibilities exist. But guess what? It's also free will because all possibilities exist. So you have the choice to choose from every single thing that's possible, right? So that's the whole concept.
Yes. But that's so fun though. Isn't that I mean it's
Yeah.
just fun. Everything we're talking about is fun. It is just like you are so right. I'm getting a little excited here that this is such a gift. It's such a gift. Okay, tell us, Neil, in terms of having contact with extraterrestrials, I I feel I've heard you say basically it's you feel it's going to happen pretty soon. Okay,
Yeah.
give us your take.
The way I look at it is, first of all, I think first contact has to do with a channeling state. A lot of people are going to have certain like channeling where they're communicating with different beings. But what needs to happen is there has to be a slow or a steady awareness to the fact we're not alone in the universe, right? Because if they just show up and most people aren't even thinking about
Oh,
it, like,
freak out.
whoa, right? not only would they freak out, but some of these craft are such a frequency that their bodies would, even if their minds are saying yeah, their body's saying no. That's a rap song, by the way. So
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and so if it starts running, the body runs away because it's like freaked out, you know? So what happens is, okay, disclosure. Governments are saying it. Even though some people are jaded from the government disclosure, you got to realize, guys, you are the choir. So yes, you're going to be jaded because you already know. But how many is it about us knowing only? Is it about people who don't know knowing so that we can actually usher in this new world? So whether they have a psyop going on, which there is some of that happening as well, whether there's controlled opposition or the control narrative, or there's some people that just freely in the governmental systems want to release this information, we cannot deny the fact that millions and millions and millions, if not billion plus people, are now aware that there's UFOs, there's a reverse engineering happening, that there's ET bodies that have been captured, there's been UFOs found in archaeological digs, right? I watched this podcast with Tim Burchett on it. It was like a bro type of podcast, like just playing ball, talking about random dude things, right? And they just like, what's up with these UFO stuff, right? As they're like dunking basketball. And then he goes, oh, a lot of these UFOs were found at archaeological digs, so we got a feeling that they've been here for tens of thousands of years. Who's watching that show, right? Not people like us. I watch everything, so yeah, I see that too. But at the same time, like another example, have you watched Love Is Blind? The show Love Is Blind,
Oh, is that special
the
needs?
dating show. The
Yes.
dating show. No, 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 no.
Yes.
It's not a special needs one. It's two different people
No, I have not
with a
seen that one.
wall, with a wall, and then they're like dating and have to get to know each other. And there's a whole bunch of people in these cubicles, and they decide to be with each other before they actually see each other, and they're having conversations and dates with each other, right? It's a really famous show.
Okay,
So
I have to
so
check it out. Sounds very
my
connective.
my sister
Interesting.
my sister and my brother-in-law are watching this thing, right? So I'm walking the room and I sit down and watch it with them, and they're like, "Oh, I think that girl's your type of girl, Neil, because like look at she's like into all this stuff." And then she starts going on one of the dates. Did you hear about the reverse engineered UFO craft retrievals? For 80 years they've been hiding this. And that there's ET bodies, blah blah blah. And he goes, well, "That's why I like you. You're so cool." You know what I mean? Like, and but it's even seeping into there, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first step. Pop culture accepting it, right? Daily Show just did a whole hit piece on Stargates, okay? Um, just 2 weeks ago, because people think that the war in Iran is because we are trying to get a Stargate and it's taken over the internet. So therefore, the Daily Show and other news outlets are doing hit pieces on it like it's mainstream news, making
No.
fun of it, right?
Oh,
But it's
okay.
still like it's seeping out everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the first level. And slowly but surely, we're not alone. We have the craft. This is one of the pieces of technology. These are the different beings that they just said a couple of months ago that the governments have already been in communication with. Then it gets to full open disclosure, where it becomes a broadcast or something on TV, or it becomes some sort of thing in the sky that none of us can deny, where now everybody on the planet is now informed. We are not alone in the universe. Lucky for us, by then, 50% plus of the planet probably already has heard this information. Maybe 25% of them think it's bullshit, but they've still heard it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first step. So our consciousness shifts now to being like, whoa, we now know we're not alone. What happens to the brains in the simulation? If every single person on the planet just realized right now in this moment, like a snap of the finger, we're not alone in the universe, and they owned it, imagine what the simulation would do. We would recode something in the simulation. What is the recoding going to do? Oh, it's going to now allow us one step closer to open contact. So whether they land and communicate with us, interact immediately, I don't know. It could be because we already know from these disclosures is the governments have already freaking talked to them. People have already interacted with them. They've
Mhm.
even dissected bodies. They've even had boardroom meetings with ETs to come up with different contracts on different things they're doing on the planet,
Yeah.
right? So that will be the next step. So I think like 2027, towards the end of 2027 into 2028. But the way things are picking up right now, it could be much sooner than that. There will be the first step. Everyone in the world has been informed that we're not alone in the universe, and it's definitely for sure, right? Which is, if you looked at like CNN or Fox News or any of the shows in the last few months, they've had entire headlines. We're not alone in the universe. Aliens exist. the Time magazine front page cover 2 weeks ago was aliens exist, right? Alien something, but it said aliens we're not alone, something like that. Time page, you can look it up. And that was
Whoa,
the
yeah,
last
well,
edition, okay? The last edition,
Time magazine.
right?
Amazing.
So now more people are curious about it.
Yeah.
And then when the consciousness shifts in that level, we then start opening up to the interactions and the communication because a lot of these beings are at the edge of their seats waiting for this moment. They can't wait to connect with us.
So exciting. So let me ask you with this because the collective consciousness up until this point, let's say, has been, oh, if there's something we are unfamiliar with, we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it. Like all the shows are still about, I don't like something, I'm going to kill it. Do you
Yeah.
feel that that is shifting as well? Because I don't watch entertainment that much, but I'm still like, oh my God, they're going to kill this person. They don't feel comfortable. They're going to kill this. What do you think about that?
Well, the people that are saying that are also the same people that we are now being exposed as holding onto the truth that people are really getting upset about. So
Mm,
within the UFO world, the people that if there is anybody they're upset with, it's the military industrial complex. It's the different agencies that have hidden this wisdom and this truth about we're not alone, and they're the ones that have been pushing this fear narrative. For example, the CIA has done a lot of that. And
yeah.
who's one of the biggest funders of the entertainment industry and through Project Mockingbird? The CIA pushing their narrative, right? So,
Yes.
so the ones that are actually pushing this fear out are the ones that are afraid that if the truth comes out and they know, and we start figuring out how many people they've killed to hide the truth, how much technology that they've hid from us to under national security, even though it wasn't needed to be, how many companies were given these technologies that then created control over us, and then created billion-dollar companies that then created pollution, that then created poverty, that then did all these atrocities against humanity, even connections to Epstein and the UFO files. Like all this stuff is just so incredibly deep. So the ones that are pushing the fear narrative are also the ones that have the most to lose because they're scared that if they do get the truth about who and what they've done, that they're going to be held accountable for it. Which is why people like Joe Rogan and other people have said that we should just offer them, I think it's called amnesty, where we should just say, hey, it's okay if we're not going to hold anybody accountable. You're not going to go to jail for anything. Just start telling us the truth about what you're doing, just so that we can get it out. Some people are saying that as well. Now, the people that are fighting for this, Rep Luna, Tim Burchett, many other people, they're not saying it's a national security threat. They're saying that the reason why it's been covered up is because they thought it was a national security threat. But a lot of them are saying, look at like, for example, Rep Luna, she's a hardcore Christian, and she said, have you read the Keys of Enoch? The Keys of Enoch is all about UFOs and visitations. Tim Burchett, south of, he's a southerner, hardcore Christian, and he says that my Christianity doesn't take away from the fact that we're not alone in the universe, and that a lot of the sightings within the Bible, which I love and I believe in Jesus, probably were these different craft. And then the amount of people that have said, we have evidence that these things have been visiting us for at least 100 years. The first documented case was in 1891 or something like that in Aurora, Texas. The UFO crash that happened there, where there was a magazine, there was a newspaper article about two ET bodies that were found and the funeral that they had for them, right? And then we had the UFO sightings of the Foo Fighters in World War II, where they were doing some advanced things where both sides, Axis and Allies, thought it was the technology of the other side. Not until after World War II, when they both started speaking, they realized it didn't belong to either of them. What were these freaking orbs floating around them, right? And then we have more sightings picking up after World War II, nonstop sightings. So not only in the last 100 years, um, if these beings, as they have said many times, many people have said, officials have said, if these beings wanted to destroy us, why didn't they do us in the last 100 years? They had that ability for the 100 years. But then, if we're now saying that we're discovering some of these things in archaeological digs, which Tim Burchett and others have said, they've been coming for thousands of years, and why haven't they taken over us at that point as well? Therefore, we have no reason to believe that they are harmful, going to try to harm us. The other reason why they think some people in the military think they're going to harm us You got to realize if you're raised in a military family, your dad was a military person, or you went to school and you wanted to be in the military, you have a different mindset. You're not inherently evil. You just have a different mindset, and you want to protect. You want to protect. Some people want to protect and serve. They think that national security is a thing, right? And it is on some levels, but they maybe take it to extremes with different things. So when it comes to the fact that almost every UFO sighting is at a nuclear base, what do you think these military officials are going to say? Right? Well, it's on nuclear energy. What are they trying to do? Trying to take our nuclear? Is it a different foreign government trying to take our nuclear secrets? Even the number one sighting that people refer to, the USS Nimitz off the coast of San Diego, that was the number one sighting that was circled with the Go Fast and the gimbal incident with the Tic Tac UFO off the coast of San Diego and Oceanside. Guess what that boat was? It was a nuclear boat. It had nuclear warheads in the boat. Even that boat was a nuclear thing. Even the English, the famous one in Rendlesham Air Force Base in England was a nuclear base. So if you're a military official, you're automatically thinking it's a foreign adversary checking your nuclear secrets,
Mhm.
or if it's not from this planet, they're trying to do some recon to attack us. But this is why I wish I was on the news so I could tell them like why this is happening. Joe Rogan speaks about this all the time, and I every time I always think about, please have me on your show so I can give you my answer. The reason why is because we're in some sort of simulated holographic reality. Meaning, imagine there's a hard drive, and the code for Earth is in this hard drive, right? And the universe is a hard drive, and Earth is one program within that hard drive. Now imagine somebody has a little minor bomb inside of that hard drive that splits the frequency and the electrical current of that hard drive as it explodes. What happens to the rest of the hard drive? It all gets corrupted. So what's happening is as you're using nuclear weapons, you're splitting the atom. What's inside the atom? The subatomic particles. What's the subatomic particles made out of? Infinite singularities. What is another word for infinite singularity? A mini wormhole. What's inside the wormhole? A connection to all other realities. So when you're splitting the atom, you're splitting the subatomic world. The energy that goes out also goes inside the subatomic world. Where does that affect? Other realities, other dimensions, other beings, creations, you know? So they are like, oh my God, that's why the UFO sightings literally picked up on the first atomic test in 1945 was the first crash landing that we have documented that the government's retrieved, right? And it's because they don't want us one to destroy ourselves because we're connected to them through ancestry. We aren't supposed to destroy ourselves. We have an ascension planet, and then two, they realize that we don't know what we're doing to other realities by exploding nuclear warheads.
Ooh, wow, that's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
How are you feeling talking about that?
I mean, I don't have any trigger around these things. It doesn't feel make me feel negative.
Oh
You
no,
know, it
it's
just,
exciting. Like
no,
you
no,
can
it's like,
see your passion and just, oh, let's
oh
go.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about this.
I love breaking down the whole thing, especially when it gets to the nuclear and the history of it all, because it went from ridicule to mainstream, you know?
Yes.
The reason why they were ridiculing it, 2016 was I can tell you the moment they shifted it. I watched it happen, and it was like they had to get ahead of it. They knew that they had no choice, that this was coming out. Also, at the same time, the WikiLeaks emails were coming out with the UFO files. That was the same week that they went on TV and started and changed it from UFOs to UAPs. The same week the WikiLeaks files came out. It's not a coincidence.
Oh, so fun. Let me two more questions because I want to be cognizant of your time as well. So, Men in Black, what do you think about that?
Men in Black,
Yeah,
the show, or the fact that people say that people exist here
that
in.
they exist. Do you believe that they exist?
Well, first I'll say the show. I think there definitely could be some sort of thing like that where there's interactions and different types of beings coming through, and that there's a group of people that are maybe in charge of this. That's definitely a possibility. Now, when it comes to Men in Black, there are agencies that don't even have names or letters associated to them because they're completely off the books, completely black budget agencies that are dealing with deep inherent conspiracies that control the world, including the UFO narrative. Whether they're the men in black or not, I don't know. But I have watched videos on people that have showed up at people's doorsteps that have no facial features. you know, that
Hmm.
are wearing all black, that people say are some sort of hybrid ET that's working with the government that is there to control the narrative of UFOs. So I wouldn't doubt that it's real. I haven't really gone too deep into like exploring it any more than that.
That's really good information, too. Here's a new Earth question. What do you think it takes to actually embody the new Earth in our everyday lives? And I know you talked about mindset, yet could you go into that one more time and you might switch it up a little?
Yeah, to embody the new Earth in this time, there's so many different directions you can go with this. I'll say, in my opinion, being human, feeling
Mm,
our humanity,
mm,
being kind and compassionate to ourselves, treating our bodies in the way we would want it to be treated by others, right? It's really like the way that we treat ourselves really reflects on the way we treat others. And even if you could treat others very well, if you're not treating yourself well, it's sometimes in a way where you're looking for external validation and you're doing it for the reasons because you need to be proven that somebody cares for you, somebody loves for you, rather than the fact that you're doing it unconditionally. I don't know if you're following me here. So
yeah.
my answer really um, is to is to not try to escape reality by looking into what's next, but to see how you can be present with each moment and every single person in your life, starting with yourself, right? And that's it can go more complicated with that. There's all types of tools you can do that with, but that's kind of my answer there.
I think that's beautiful because it really helps people know it's not just your mindset, it's your physical as well. And I do want to bridge that gap for a moment and talk about the food camps you were just in
Yeah.
because they sound pretty intense. So can you tell us about both? Just like summarize your experience?
Yeah, you said both. What was the other thing?
But you had one food camp where was no
Oh,
they were in two
yeah,
different
fitness camp.
locations. Fitness
Yeah,
camps.
okay.
Thank you. Well,
So,
that wasn't food, but fitness.
November 2024, I was not feeling too well in life. I was
Yeah.
going through a slump of depression in that time. And I was like, I've been on this journey for like 23 years now. I've done all types of things to heal, all types of plant medicine ceremonies to try to freaking figure stuff out.
Yeah.
And but I still am going through this. So I was at a lower level than ever before because I was like, damn, when will this freaking stop? And
Mm.
so I was like, I've tried everything, Reiki healing, rolfing, freaking energy work, spiritual counseling, you name it. But there's one thing I have never tried, working out. And
No
I've
way.
and if you do any search online as the like go to ChatGPT and say top 10 things that help with depression that are not medication, every time you get physical exercise, the number one thing, right? It has all these benefits for your brain, your serotonin levels, your hormone levels, your insulin levels, everything gets fixed with weight training. And so I was like, all right. I was living in Bali at that time, so I called up this camp in Scottsdale, Arizona called Live in Fitness, and I was like, okay, this place, you freaking live in the camp. You literally like they shuttle you from your room to the hiking trail, to the camp to work out, to your breakfast, to your lunch, to your dinner, drop you off at the end of the day. You can chill and do something for the last 3 hours in the day, but you're so exhausted, you just pretty much go to sleep. And so I did that for 3 weeks. I learned all these things about my body. I learned all these things about hormone levels. I got to ask the founder, because he was there every single day for questions, all types of information about things that I had going on with me, my genetics, insulin resistance, things like that. This guy he used to be in Malibu, this camp. A lot of the celebrities used to go to him, like Cedric the Entertainer, Jessica Biel, all these different people to basically have this experience so that they could get ready for the movies, right?
Hmm.
And so he stopped doing that work and he decided to create something similar for the normal people. So like people like us. So
You're not normal, by the
yes,
way, Neil.
I know, right? I know, right? So I went in for 3 weeks and changed my life. I lost all this weight. I learned all this stuff about my body. And it was like so insane because you're not allowed to drink any alcohol there. You only can eat what they give you. And you can't have any coffee because they don't want to be responsible for injuries because coffee dehydrates you and you're working out 6 to 7 hours a day. They don't want you to get injured. You have to have like 8 full things of water a day. It's like have to have it, four of them electrolytes, and then And and then no alcohol because obviously you're working out. And alcohol, if you have alcohol, you have something called RMR, resting metabolic rate. That's how many calories you burn just from sitting all day. The higher the rate, the healthier your metabolic rate is. So around 2,100 is good for men, right? And like for women, it's a little less. So I was like at 1,700. So when you drink alcohol, it actually reduces your
Let's take a pause from the show. What if I told you there is an ascended way of eating and drinking? Because there is. It's called breatharianism. And I see it as a new earth way of existing as we are becoming less dense and crystalline. It is about learning how to take nutrition from energy, from the sun, from chi, from prana. And one of the big benefits I can tell you about, because I've been through the breatharian initiation myself, is that most people consume, when they're completed, about 50 to 90% less of food and water. I am at 50%. So if you want to learn more about this process, see Ray Morar, who is my facilitator, and I'll talk more about that in a second, episode 221. If this floats your boat in any way, Ray has given me permission to offer 5% off his breatharian initiation processes. So see the links below and give it a try if you feel like it. Oh, one of the other things, science says you can only go 3.5 days without water. I went 4, other initiates went 5, some went 8. There is so much to learn about the human body and our existence, and all of this is powering up the new earth. Let's get back to the juicy podcast. Thank you.
when you drink alcohol, it actually reduces your RMR for 24 to 48 hours by half the amount. So if you drink
Whoa.
like even one glass of alcohol, right? So today saying you just by sitting today, not doing anything but sitting, you will burn 1,900 calories. Say you have one glass of wine tonight. Tomorrow, you're only going to burn 50% of that,
It's
right?
amazing.
It stunts your metabolism. So I started learning all this stuff about myself. So after I was done, I freaking love coffee. I traveled the world to coffee plantations, all types of stuff. I haven't drank coffee ever since that day. I haven't drank alcohol since that day. And because I was like, oh, I've done this for 3 weeks. Let me try 3 months. Oh, I've done this for 3 months. Let me try 6 months. 1 year, 2 years. Now it's almost 3 years, you know? And I lived in Colombia and Vietnam, two of the freaking coffee capitals of the world. And so it
Mhm.
was hard. But thank God for me, I discovered matcha 6 months ago and I have a new addiction.
Okay, this is so neat to talk about this because it was so interesting with you and I talking about it initially, knowing that I did kind of the opposite of that, that suddenly, oh, I'm not going to drink that much water. And my food intake is down by like 50%. So it's so neat to compare and contrast because this is what this world is. And the fact that you had really never moved into exercise and done all these other things. And that was kind of the last paradigm for you. And it sounds like it was
Yeah,
so eye opening because I also I don't eat sugar, and folks on the show knows sugar, alcohol, because alcohol is also the dark spirits, and just to keep my vibration high. But it's true, it has such an effect on your body,
hmm
and you got to experience that in a different way than I did. So did you
yeah.
drink a good bit before this, or occasionally?
I was never like, yeah, I would definitely be drinking every now and then. Plus, right before I went to the camp, I was living in Spain as well for a few months, and I was living right next to a vineyard, so I was drinking a bottle of organic wine every single day. And then by the second month, I was eating a whole platter of cheese with freaking bread with a bottle of wine. And I bought a whole crate from this farm to take back to the U.S. And I wasn't going back for a whole month, but within 2 weeks, the whole crate was done.
Oh my
Because
God.
loved. I mean, I wasn't getting drunk because I metabolize alcohol too quickly. I don't get drunk from it. It's like I might be dizzy for like 2 seconds and then I'm fine. You
And then
know?
you're fine. Wow. All
Yeah.
right. So how do you treat your body today?
So now I am on a goal to break. I like to challenge myself with things, and I'm on a goal to challenge myself based on all the different things that they say a person like me should be like. 43 years old. I'm Indian, so I have Indian genetics. I come from a historically civilization that did a lot of fasting. Therefore, insulin resistance and diabetes is really huge with Indians. A lot of carbs. There is there's have you ever seen an Indian with a six pack?
No. Uh,
Okay, and if you
yeah.
type in Indian six pack on Google, you'll find only celebrities in Bollywood that have literally training. And the reason why has got to a lot to do with our genetics because we historically didn't eat meat, most of us. So we never had the full amino acid profile. And there were long periods of famine and fasting for religious purposes in India. Therefore, the body genetically was already pre-designed in order to save energy so that you might be fasting later, which is why it's easy for Indians to get pot bellies, right? Because of that genetics. Different areas, different things, because people in the coast were eating fish, people inland, and in the north inland of India were almost all vegetarian, right? So it was different everywhere. So all these things were like telling me why I couldn't have the goals that I wanted to. So I am on a journey to break free from every single one of those beliefs. And so I'm on a journey to get a six pack pretty much. And I've been documenting my whole journey. And that's why I've been living in camps. And I realized to get my goals, I need to make fitness a lifestyle. So I need to live in these
Yeah.
places. Um, Everything needs to rotate around it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, well, we're going to hold you to it because you said it out loud and we've documented it. So I'm going to call you back in a couple weeks, in a couple months, and just go, Neil,
Yeah, right.
how's it
How's the six
going?
pack going?
Yes. This is so great because it's about mind, body, spirit. And I realized as I've gotten older, I've always heard, oh, your body's the temple. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have this body for my whole life. So I got to treat it
Yep.
well, honor it, have grace with it. Okay. Can we please go into the new earth practice? I want to hear some of your spoken word. Are you ready? Or is everybody ready? Let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready. So I'll
Okay.
do a piece called Atlantis. Okay.
Nice.
Or, I wrote this one 2004. So are we one yet?
Are we what?
Going back to source. No, I'm doing my.
Start again. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry to interrupt. Okay. Shh, shh, shh.
No, it's
Okay.
okay.
Go
It's
ahead,
okay.
Neil.
That's
I'm
so
ready.
funny. That's funny. So are we one yet? Going back to source. No remorse when reinforce the course that we all endorse. Unconditional love, the highest vibration, a gift from above. Desolation of separation, we must be the ones to say this is enough. You see, the third dimension, man, it was meant to be tough. There is no captivity, so unlock the cuffs, move away from hate and lust. Our thoughts shifts the earth's crust into a straight axis, just like an Atlantis. Stop causing damage and learn to manage self-realization. When people start to vanish, we change our intentions and join the like-minded souls in the fifth dimension. You see, this is the beginning of our oversoul mission. What is it that you envision for the future incarnations? The Christ consciousness has arisen. Tear the perception of being in this prison, this industrial system, slumber of opposites, duality, where we get lost and forget how to circumvent and achieve liberation. The curiosity won't last for long at all. As we move to the aquatic age, break free from the third dimensional cage of limitations Freemasons being placed in this illusionary reality. Governing authorities, there will be no more war. Co-create a love ambassador. Open the doors. Life isn't supposed to be a chore. No getting on your knees, worshiping entities from the floor. The message is simple. We don't need to know anymore. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones. Thank you.
Thank you. You know what's so interesting about that,
Mm,
Neil? I've
yeah.
had many people on the show who've done light language. That was just like light language. I
Yeah.
felt it in my gut. The energy behind it was incredible. That was really, really cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
What an amazing show. All right. To the audience, Neil and I, once this is produced on YouTube, Neil is going to be there with me to answer comments and questions, probably 2 days after, as long as I talk to Neil in advance. So, really excited about that. And I ask you to get my 7 principles of New Earth living down in the contact below so we can all co create this new Earth together. It is so exciting. Isn't it exciting, Neil?
It's definitely exciting. There's so much opportunity and so much beauty in store for all of us.
I think we will close with that. Hey, thank you so much. If you can hang out with me just a moment and much more to come, please stay tuned for this podcast, at least 2 to 3 things a week. Oh my gosh, so wonderful. All right. Blessings to everybody. See you, Neil.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.